This election will cancel up to 200,000 votes because of trans-face voting restrictions. On Election Day in 2016, Henry Seaton, a transgender man who was then 18, showed up to his local polling place in a suburb of Nashville, Tennessee, to vote for the first time. Seaton showed his state ID, but the poll worker gave him a confused look and called over another poll worker to look at Seaton's identification. Then, in front of the Nazarene church where he was supposed to vote, the poll workers asked him about what they saw as a discrepancy between his ID and his appearance. Seaton, who is now 24, said, quote, "I had to out myself as transgender," end quote. He had legally changed his name at the time, but the gender marker on his Tennessee ID still said female. With early voting for next week's election underway in many states, Seaton is unlikely to be alone in his experience. While trans people may face barriers to voting in dozens of states, Tennessee is one of 8 where they could face particularly challenging obstacles at the polls this month because of both strict voter ID laws and a simmering culture war in which transgender people have been thrust to the forefront. As per the ACLU, this year alone, more than 160 state bills to restrict trans rights have been proposed across the country. I mean, this is a serious crisis. 200,000 is a lot of votes. That's a lot of votes. And to have them at risk in this particular midterm election, it's terrifying. It's really terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to hear a lot more stories like this. You know, I have someone really close to me that unfortunately had to buoy herself up to go vote, okay? Because she was dressed as her true authentic self and it didn't match her voter registration card. She had an issue at the place and she went, took her wig off, took her makeup off, and then went back in and voted as a boy. She had to go back into the freaking closet to vote. And you know what? When I asked her, would you do it again? She said, hell F yeah.
Courageous.
I will do what I have to do.
Yes.
And, you know, that story breaks my heart. And these laws are disgusting. We don't need to rehash that. But I will say this is another example of why voting early is so important. Because if someone challenges you, you can fight it. If they don't like your signature on your ballot, you can go down and cure the ballot by showing your ID or whatever. That's why early voting is so important, especially for communities where you can expect to be challenged routinely at the polls.
You know, I want to give kudos to the Biden administration because they actually have tried to address this already in their first term by making U.S. passports, giving the option for people to not select a male or female gender,
but an X,
but do the X. And in many states, I think almost all of them, check your own state rules and requirements, but U.S. passports are a valid form of photo ID for voting.
Yeah.
You know, one last thought. The story that you just told about the person that can't be who they are just to cast a Democratic vote in America. You know who angers me on that is not the system. Who angers me over a situation like that is the LGBTQ community that doesn't stand up for the T in our acronym that says, this is the reason why you should be an activist. This is the reason why you should voice support, because you have family members in your acronym that are having their rights destroyed, humiliated, punished for being who they are. How is that any different than gay men in 1969? And we have forgotten. We just have forgotten. And that is so incredibly disappointing.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.